Hello brothers and welcome to Sigma Old Man channel. The greatest trick someone can pull is convincing you they're everything you've ever wanted until you realize they're everything you never needed. In today's world, dating feels less like finding love and more like dodging red flags on a battlefield. Studies show that modern relationships are ending faster than ever, with nearly 70% of people admitting they've ignored obvious warning signs in their partners. Why? Because sometimes a pretty face or a charming persona can blind you to a personality that's waving a giant red flag like it's signaling a rescue helicopter. This isn't about nitpicking flaws or hating on modern women. It's about recognizing the traits that can turn a promising connection into a train wreck before it even leaves the station. And let's be honest, if you've ever thought, how did I not see that coming, while nursing a broken heart? This is for you. Buckle up, this isn't your typical cliché-filled advice. We're about to dissect the real red flags no one wants to talk about. Don't worry though, we'll keep it brutally honest, sharp, and just funny enough to soften the blow. Let's dive in. Number 1, performative feminism. Performative feminism is one of the most overlooked red flags in modern dating, but it's also one of the most dangerous. It's when someone uses the language of empowerment, equality, or justice. Not because they truly believe in it, but because it's convenient or trendy. On the surface, she might come across as someone deeply aligned with progressive ideals, but if you dig deeper, her actions rarely match her words. She's quick to call out unfairness when it affects her, but eerily silent when it's someone else's problem. Her idea of equality might revolve around privileges she wants, rather than the balance she claims to seek. The telltale signs: a woman who uses terms like independent or strong to avoid responsibilities in a relationship while expecting her partner to carry the load. Or one who talks about smashing the patriarchy but still wants a man to pick up the bill, plan everything, and shoulder all the emotional labor. It's not that those desires are inherently bad, it's the double standard that's the issue. Real feminism is about mutual respect and partnership. But performative feminism thrives on control disguised as empowerment. The real kicker is that this behavior can be incredibly seductive because it often comes wrapped in charisma and conviction. It's only over time that you realize her version of equality is more like a one-sided contract. Relationships with someone like this become exhausting because you're not dating a partner, you're dating a narrative. And in her script, she's always the hero and you're there to play a supporting role. If her empowerment consistently translates into entitlement, that's not feminism. It's manipulation with a politically correct label. It's a red flag that might look progressive at first glance, but it'll drain you before you know it. Number 2, obsessive focus on high-value men. An obsessive focus on high-value men is one of the most glaring yet easily overlooked red flags in modern dating. It's not about having standards. Standards are healthy. But when a woman's entire narrative revolves around landing a man who fits a specific mold of success, power, or wealth, it reveals more about her priorities than her worth. She's chasing an ideal, not a person, and that's where the problem begins. Conversations with her often feel like a checklist: income bracket, social status, physical appearance, and lifestyle. She might casually drop terms like provider or leader as though they're qualifications for a job rather than qualities of a partner. But here's the kicker: she rarely pauses to reflect on what she's bringing to the table. It's all about what he must be, what he must have, and how he must elevate her life. This kind of mindset doesn't just lack self-awareness, it's rooted in entitlement. If her standards are sky high, but her character, emotional intelligence, or ability to contribute to a relationship is ground level, there's a serious disconnect. A relationship with someone like this can feel transactional, like you're being sized up for your potential to fit into her vision of an ideal life. What's worse is that this obsession often blinds her to genuine connections. She may overlook men with incredible character simply because they don't tick every superficial box. The truth is, a high-value man isn't looking for someone who sees him as a trophy or a stepping stone. He's looking for a partner, not an opportunist. If her focus is entirely on extracting value rather than building it together, she's chasing a fantasy, not a future, and you'll end up feeling like just another item on her list. Number 3, using empowerment as an excuse for rudeness. Using empowerment as an excuse for rudeness is one of the most deceptive red flags out there. Confidence and assertiveness are undeniably attractive traits, but there's a fine line between standing up for yourself and bulldozing everyone around you. Some women cross that line and call it empowerment, but let's be honest. There's nothing empowering about being unnecessarily combative or dismissive. You'll notice this in the way she handles disagreements or interactions with others. Instead of being firm but respectful, she'll lean into sarcasm, condescension, or outright hostility, and then justify it as not letting people walk all over her. She'll shut down conversations, interrupt without apology, or steamroll others' opinions, all while painting herself as the hero of her own narrative. In her mind, she's just keeping it real or speaking her truth. But to everyone else, it feels like walking on eggshells. What makes this behavior particularly toxic is how it's often disguised as strength. Society celebrates strong women, and rightfully so. But strength doesn't mean disregarding kindness or basic decency. Real empowerment is about knowing your worth and communicating it effectively, not using it as a shield to justify bad behavior. The danger in dating someone like this is that her rudeness can quickly become a weapon in the relationship. Any disagreement is likely to escalate into a battlefield where winning matters more than understanding. Over time, her so-called empowerment doesn't uplift the relationship, it drains it. Here's the bottom line. True strength isn't loud, brash, or unkind. It's measured, thoughtful, and confident without needing to crush others in the process. If her version of empowerment consistently feels like arrogance in disguise, she's not strong, she's just masking insecurity with bravado, and you'll feel the weight of it sooner than later. Number 4, chronically undecided about what she wants. Being chronically undecided about what she wants isn't just confusing, it's emotionally exhausting. One day, she's all about finding a long-term partner who shares her values and wants to build a future. The next day, she's in her "I'm just vibing" phase, insisting she doesn't want anything serious. The inconsistency doesn't stop there. Her priorities seem to change with the weather, leaving you wondering if you're dealing with a partner or a different person entirely each week. This kind of behavior isn't harmless indecision. It's a deeper issue of emotional instability and lack of self-awareness. It's not that people can't change their minds. It's that someone who is chronically unsure of what they want isn't ready to commit to anyone, let alone a meaningful relationship. The truth is, she hasn't taken the time to figure herself out. So she's relying on external factors, like the dynamics of her current situation or even her mood, to dictate her desires. The result? A relationship that feels like an emotional roller coaster you didn't sign up for. One moment she's planning your future together. The next, she's pulling back and claiming she needs space. You'll constantly be second-guessing where you stand. And that uncertainty will drain the trust and stability a healthy partnership needs. The hard truth is that someone who doesn't know what they want will leave you in limbo until they figure it out, if they ever do. And by the time they do, you might realize you've wasted energy on someone who was never ready in the first place. A woman who is emotionally clear and self-aware doesn't send mixed signals. She's intentional, and she knows her worth without making you feel like a placeholder for her self-discovery journey. Number 5, treating relationships like transactions. Treating relationships like transactions is one of the most soul-draining red flags out there. It's not love, it's a negotiation, and every interaction feels like it's been stamped with terms and conditions apply. With her, everything comes down to what she can get out of the relationship, rather than what she can give. Time, effort, and emotional connection are measured like currency, and you'll often feel like you're in a constant state of proving your value. This isn't about wanting a partner who contributes or meets you halfway. It's about a mindset that reduces relationships to a cold, calculated exchange. Her love language might as well be ROI, return on investment. If you do something kind, she'll tally it up against what she's done. If you fall short of her expectations, you'll hear about it not as a disappointment, but as a breach of her unspoken contract. What makes this behavior even more insidious is how subtle it can be at first. It might start with small comments about what she deserves or how a man should provide, which are valid in healthy doses. But over time, it becomes clear that her focus isn't on building a partnership. It's on building her portfolio of benefits. Whether it's material things, emotional labor, or social status, the relationship starts to feel more like a transaction and less like a connection. The saddest part is that this approach kills genuine intimacy. When someone treats love like a business deal, it strips away the vulnerability and trust that make relationships fulfilling. You're left feeling more like a resource than a partner. A healthy relationship thrives on mutual giving, not constant taking. If love feels like it has a price tag, it's not love. It's a red flag you can't afford to ignore. Number 6, overglorification of toxic traits. Overglorification of toxic traits is a red flag disguised as confidence. But don't be fooled, this isn't empowerment. It's chaos dressed up in glitter. If she idolizes the bad bee archetype, where being manipulative, overly demanding, or emotionally unavailable is celebrated, she's not aiming for a healthy relationship. She's romanticizing dysfunction. To her, toxic behavior isn't a flaw, it's a strategy. And worse, she might see it as a badge of honor. You'll notice this mindset in her language and how she talks about relationships. She might brag about keeping men on their toes, or think constant drama is a sign of passion. She wears being difficult like a crown, as if being hard to deal with automatically makes her high value. But here's the truth. Genuine confidence doesn't need to play games or stir chaos to prove its worth. Toxic behavior disguised as strength only shows a lack of emotional maturity. This overglorification stems from a culture that sometimes confuses empowerment with dominance. There's nothing wrong with being assertive, independent, or knowing what you want. But when manipulation, control, and emotional unavailability are treated like virtues, the result is a never-ending power struggle. And power struggles are not love. Dating someone with this mindset feels like trying to win a game where the rules keep changing. Her idea of love revolves around control, and if you're not careful, you'll spend more time defending your sanity than building a connection. Healthy relationships thrive on mutual respect and understanding, not on who can outsmart or outplay the other. If she thinks toxicity equals power, she's not someone who values a real partnership, she's someone who values winning at any cost. Number 7. Always the main character. Being the main character in your own life is a fun concept, until it's taken way too literally. A woman who constantly acts like the world revolves around her can initially come across as confident and self-assured. She has a certain magnetic charm, a captivating energy that draws people in. But scratch the surface and you'll find that this main character energy often comes with a hefty dose of selfishness. If every conversation, plan, or conflict somehow circles back to her, you're not in a relationship, you're an extra in her personal movie. The problem isn't her confidence, it's the lack of balance. She might genuinely believe her needs, desires, and feelings are more important than anyone else's, including yours. Whether it's subtle or blatant, this mindset makes her dismissive of your experiences. Did you have a bad day? She'll find a way to one-up you with how hers was worse, or somehow make it about her triumphs. Did you have a win? She'll turn the spotlight back to her achievements. This main character syndrome makes relationships feel one-sided over time. You might initially admire her boldness and ambition, but eventually you'll notice how exhausting it is to never feel fully seen or heard. A partnership requires mutual recognition, a give and take where both people feel valued. But if her focus is always on her storyline, your needs will be left on the cutting room floor. What makes this dynamic even trickier is how well it's masked. Her charisma might keep you hooked for a while, but charm fades quickly when selfishness becomes the norm. If she can't share the stage, she's not ready for a relationship. A true partner doesn't see you as a supporting actor in their life. They see you as an equal co-star in something you're building together. Number 8, chasing clout over connection. Chasing clout over connection is a modern-day relationship killer, and it's surprisingly easy to miss until you're knee-deep in it. At first, it might seem like she's just enthusiastic about sharing your moments together, a little social media love here and there. But when her phone becomes the third wheel in the relationship, you quickly realize her priorities aren't intimacy, they're optics. If every dinner, vacation, or heartfelt conversation has to be staged for the perfect TikTok or Instagram story, it's clear the relationship isn't about you, it's about how you fit into her brand. This obsession with clout is less about sharing her life and more about crafting an image. It's not enough to enjoy the moment, it has to be filtered, hashtagged, and polished to perfection for an audience that doesn't actually live in your relationship. Authenticity takes a backseat to applause, and suddenly your private moments aren't so private anymore. You might even find yourself questioning whether she values you as a person or as a prop in her quest for validation. The real danger here isn't just the lack of authenticity, it's the emotional emptiness it breeds. Relationships thrive on deep, meaningful connection, not surface-level performance. But when her focus is constantly on how things look rather than how they feel, you'll start to notice cracks in the foundation. Vulnerability, trust, and genuine effort get replaced with curated captions and choreographed couple content. The irony? The more she chases clout, the more disconnected the relationship becomes. Love isn't built for an audience, and if she's more invested in her followers' reactions than in building something real with you, you're not in a relationship, you're in a performance. And eventually, every performance ends when the applause stops. Number 9, obsession with soft life culture. The obsession with soft life culture is more than just a trend, it's a red flag for anyone seeking depth in a relationship. There's this fantasy of a carefree, luxurious lifestyle where everything comes easy and personal effort is optional. It's an Instagram-worthy dream where everything is effortless and curated to perfection. But here's the truth. Life isn't a curated reel, and anyone who believes they can bypass hard work, responsibility, and accountability for the sake of ease is skipping over the very things that make a partnership strong and real. This obsession often shows up as a desire to constantly be pampered, adored, and taken care of without ever having to lift a finger. There's nothing inherently wrong with wanting a comfortable life, but when this craving for ease becomes the central focus, it signals an avoidance of reality. She may expect others, whether it's a partner, family, or friends, to provide the lifestyle she fantasizes about while she contributes little in terms of effort, growth, or shared responsibility. In a world that celebrates luxury and indulgence, it's easy to lose sight of the fact that a meaningful relationship doesn't come with an all-inclusive package. It's about shared struggles, growth, and effort. But the soft life mindset wants to skip those parts and dive straight into a picture-perfect existence, all while neglecting the necessary work required to nurture anything meaningful. If she's all about the soft life and doesn't understand the value of putting in the effort to build something real, she's not grounded enough for a real partnership. A strong relationship isn't built on escape, it's built on facing challenges together with grit and determination. So if she's obsessed with avoiding reality, you'll find that what she's really avoiding is the real work that true love and partnership require. Number 10, chronic victimhood. Chronic victimhood is one of those exhausting traits that turns every conversation into a pity party. If she's constantly pointing the finger at everyone else, the world, her exes, her friends, the weather, even the stars, she's not just sharing her troubles, she's trying to drag you into a world of blame. It's as though her entire existence is a series of unfortunate events that are entirely outside her control. The problem? She never takes responsibility for any of it. Accountability is a foreign concept to her, and instead of looking inward to understand her role in any situation, she'd rather play the victim. At first, it might seem like she just needs someone to listen or vent to, but soon enough it becomes clear that this behavior is a pattern. Every breakup, every disagreement, every mistake is someone else's fault. Her exes were terrible, her boss doesn't appreciate her, the weather just always seems to rain on her parade. She never stops to ask herself what she might have done to contribute to these situations. It's always the world against her. But here's the kicker. This never-ending victim narrative is not only draining, it's manipulative. It keeps her in a position where she doesn't have to change, grow, or improve, because everything that happens to her is someone else's doing. And while this might gain her sympathy in the short term, it builds an unhealthy dynamic where she expects others to carry the emotional load while she remains comfortably unaccountable. Relationships thrive on growth, mutual understanding, and a willingness to face challenges together. If she refuses to take accountability for her actions, everything becomes someone else's problem, and you end up being dragged into the endless drama. When you're dealing with chronic victimhood, you're not in a relationship. You're in a never-ending episode of Who's to Blame Today? Navigating modern relationships can often feel like walking through a maze of red flags, each one subtly camouflaged behind a layer of charm or ambition. But understanding these traits, recognizing when they're unhealthy, and learning how to avoid or address them is vital for anyone looking for something real and meaningful. The truth is, no matter how polished the exterior, a relationship built on manipulation, entitlement, or superficial connections will always crumble when tested by life's challenges. In the end, real love isn't about cliches, clout, or playing games. It's about two people choosing to grow together, face hardships head-on, and genuinely care for one another's well-being. So if you find yourself constantly tiptoeing around drama, chasing after validation, or wondering if you're in a genuine partnership or just a performance, it's time to take a step back. Trust that your worth doesn't lie in being someone's emotional pawn or fitting into their curated world. True connection requires authenticity, mutual respect, and a willingness to be accountable for one's actions. Relationships are supposed to be a sanctuary, not a battlefield. If you're ready to build something solid, you'll need more than just a soft life dream and an Instagram aesthetic. You'll need a grounded, real, and unwavering commitment to one another. And that's a connection worth fighting for. If you found this video eye-opening and want to dive deeper into more content like this, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Join the community and make sure you turn on the notifications so you never miss out on more eye-opening insights. If you liked what you saw, give it a thumbs up and share your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear your take on today's topic. And hey, if you know someone who could benefit from this, don't hesitate to share the video. Let's keep the conversation going and build a community that's all about authentic connections and real growth. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now, and see you in the next video.